Hello and welcome to Worship Arts Clinics TV. My name is John Parrott and I am the Worship Arts Director at Discovery Church here in Orlando, Florida. And excited today to have a good friend of mine, a pillar on our team, Mr. Doug Classy. And Doug and I have known each other for a little over 8 years. And Doug primarily plays electric guitar on our team and serves at our various campuses. And there's many things that we can cover today regarding the electric guitar, regarding guitar effects and things like that. And we're going to have many episodes to come regarding the electric guitar. But given the amount of time that we have, we're going to delve into just a few short things here today. And one of the things that I'd like to talk about first, Doug, would be something that all guitar players are in search for. And we hear it in the greats. You know, we can identify it when an album comes on or a song comes on the radio. We may not know the song, but as soon as we hear that guitar tone, we can identify who the player is.
Yeah.
Especially in a cover song, when you hear a song that's been done before, but the tone may not be what it was in the original recordings with those original players playing it.
And you notice that.
You notice that. And tone is something, if you're a guitar player, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that tone. But you have a really good insight on tonality, and I'd love for you to share a little bit just your belief system in tone, which I think resonates with the great guitar players and why they stood out. It wasn't all the fancy gear they had, but it was really just who they were. So I'd love for you just to expound on that a little bit.
Well, there's primarily two camps with a guitar tone. Some folks think it comes from your gear, but I think it comes from you, from the player.
Yeah.
And it comes from how you approach the instrument, how you hit it, how you play it, how you touch it, how you slide into notes, how you bend notes, how hard you hit, how soft you hit. Good examples are Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Those guys sound like themselves whether they play a Stratocaster or a Gibson or a tube amp or a Line 6 modeling amp.
Yeah, we were talking earlier before the episode, we were talking about Eddie Van Halen. And Eddie Van Halen obviously put out his own line, 5150 lines and amps and guitars, but a lot of things that people were saying when they first picked him up was, it doesn't sound like Eddie Van Halen, you know, but it goes back to the way that Eddie Van Halen plays the guitars.
Sounds like Eddie Van Halen when he's playing them.
Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan and his brothers, his brother Jimmy Vaughan, play a lot of the same styles, but Jimmy, great player, does not sound quite like Stevie Ray Vaughan does.
Yeah. Well, and how you get to your tone is you play your instrument without any gear plugged in.
Yeah.
Just quiet in the room by yourself and hear how you play the guitar and how it's talking back.
Yeah.
That's your tone.
Yeah. And a lot of it, I mean, some things factor into tone as far as guitar setup would be string gauge.
String gauge.
Could affect your tone. Obviously pickup systems, whether you're using a single coil, double coil. What would be some things, could you maybe show us a couple things that would be technique-wise that could change your tone by changing the technique by just doing one or two different things?
Sure, absolutely. How you hit the strings and where you hit the strings can matter in how the note sounds. So let's play a little chord here and I'll rake across near the bridge.
Okay.
You can hear how bright that sounds?
Yep.
Just acoustically here.
Yep.
Now I'll move close to the neck.
Yep.
I didn't change anything.
Yeah.
Now I'll get rid of the pick.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why
I haven't changed anything.
That's why Jeff Beck sounds so unique, because if you watch Jeff Beck and see the way he plays, it's a lot of finger stuff, a lot of things he's doing, no pick, and he gets this real Piccadilly sound out of his guitar, and this sound that it's unique to who he is as a player. So when you're listening to the top worship songs we're all doing today here in church, and you hear that tone, do you find it most important to copy that tone or stay true to who you are as a player and making sure that that's what your leader wants and it works well with the song?
Well, what I do is I listen to the original song or the track that the worship leader wants to mimic or have the same feel for. And I'll learn those parts and I'll replicate what that guitar player is doing. But then I'll switch it to what I would do if I were the one to record that piece. Yeah. And most of the time it's really close to what the player's doing anyways. Yeah. But sometimes I won't slide a note, I'll bend the note, or sometimes I'll slide the note because I can't bend it to the right spot sometimes.
Yeah. And what Doug does a great job of is in rehearsals, he kind of communicates with the worship leader and says, hey, I'm going to try a couple different things. Are you cool with that? And it's always great that he says that. This lets me know, hey, I'm going to work on a couple different things. And a lot of times I love the individuality that you bring to the song without disrupting the integrity of the song. So you're really keeping the integrity, but you're adding your own, as you said, even with tone, you're adding your own individuality into that playing.
Yeah. And sometimes if there's two electric guitar parts, and I'm the only electric player, I'll play parts of one part and parts of another part, blend them together, and see how you like it.
Yeah, which leads me to my second part. And something that Doug does phenomenal is that if he's got a second guitar player, especially someone who's newer to the team, you really take it upon yourself to kind of mentor and help that individual coming in. Even if they're an accomplished player, there's something to the dynamic of joining a new team and playing with another electric player. And a lot of that comes down to the communication that you need to have with that player pre-rehearsal, and just, hey, here's some things we're going to be doing. Do you want to take this part? I'll take this part. And you really kind of, you don't throw them to the wolves, but you really encourage them to step out and take some risks, even as they're a little apprehensive, just to help them kind of, get in and get their feet wet and things like that. And that's something that you do really, really well and quickly helps raise up another strong electric player that we have. But what would be some of those things that you would address with them, listening to the music in preparation for rehearsals, just trying to work out having two electric guitar players?
Well, usually what we'll do is we'll talk about who's responsible or who owns the song. So usually one electric player will play all the parts that really dominate in the song. So that's the player then that really takes the lead for the song, even if it's not really a lead part. It might just be a prominent guitar part. Then the other thing is, what I noticed for inexperienced players is they play a lot of just the normal chords, like this A chord. And we might be banging out some chorus and they're banging out, but that's just not jiving. And maybe they need a different A chord like this triad. And so I'll just suggest to use a different version of the A. And usually like at the end of a song or at the end of rehearsal, we'll roll through some different progressions with different triads with the two guitar parts to see how they blend. Yeah,
and I love what you just said there. And if you didn't catch that, what he's saying is, if you're playing an A chord, why have the guitar players play the same version or inversion of the A chord? Why not mix it up, create more texture, more tone, especially if your acoustic player is in the same octave A and your piano player is playing down there, it's all kind of low, and then moving to the triad, moving up the octave, and knowing where your guitar players are at. But even when you're playing with another guitar player, kind of watching them and seeing where they go. If they're going to go down the octave, you're going to go up the octave, and knowing those different positions. And the more you play with those guys, the more you know where they tend to go. I see a lot of times you tend to play higher up on the neck. I see you playing, the triads and different things, up the octave, some octave stuff, which really opens up the sound. And it's nice when you have that second electric who can really lay down the lower and keep it anchored. Or if your worship pastor's playing, the piano or playing the acoustic guitar, it helps give it that lower octave tone.
Yeah, and it depends on who's on with me. Joel likes to play Hillsong style and likes to play a lot of single note, dotted eighths. And so I don't play with that. I play the lower, fuller chords while he's playing his dotted eighth riffs.
Yeah. So a couple things. Obviously, as you can see, there are many things we can talk about. And I'm going to make a decision right here on the fly and say this. Our next episode is going to be Doug talking about his pedal board. Because in respect of your time, I don't want to get into this episode, but next week we're going to do an episode with Doug talking about his pedal board, the effects. He builds his own effects. I know a lot of you guys out there who play electric guitar want to know about effects. He's going to talk about the best setups and different things like that. So we're going to...
It's pretty simple. Don't get too excited.
Okay, all right. I get excited. excited. It's a lot of the coffee. But as far as what we covered today, your tonality, that's your individuality.
Yep.
You know, what do you like? You know, what comes out when you play? Stay authentic and true to that.
Yep.
And then work well with another electric guitar player. Know what they're doing. Communicate well. Try to expand on the tonality of different chords and different chord settings, and it'll really open up your music, and you'll have a lot of fun doing it.
Yes.
All right, Doug, thanks so much for being here today.
My pleasure.
And we will see you guys next week as we look at the guitar pedals and the effects and the roles it plays in the music we do. God bless. Have a great day. Bye-bye.